Thought Room. I'm your host, Lamar Blakney. Listen, I got something on my mind, y'all. What's up, Rocky Mount, North Carolina? Miracle Mount. Yes. Listen, I had an exciting week this week. This podcast don't have a specific time that I will come on, but whenever I'm inspired and God gives me something, I'm gonna give it to y'all. I'm gonna give you what you need. Give you what you need. Give you what you need. Vicky, give you what you need. Yeah. Listen, welcome to the Thought Room. I'm your host, Lamar Blakney. Listen, I have something really, really exciting I want to share with you. I've been trying to get off work all day, just to, share this information that God has placed on my heart. And this is why I call it the Thought Room, because it's a look inside of my head, right? And a lot of you guys know me. Y'all know I got a big head. But anyway, in this episode, this is episode 5, and I'm titling it The New American Slave, a System Disguised in Justice. Hosted by me, your man, Lamar Blakney. Yeah. Listen, post, like, and share this. I'm going to be giving some really, really good information. Like I said, I'm a different kind of thinker, and I've decided to, you know what? Hey, people say Lamar go way here, then Lamar going to go way there, because this is just how I think. So what I want to do is, and I'm not going to be up here long, please post, like, and share this with friends and family, because I got a lot I want to talk about. The new American slave, right? So let me start off with the hand of truth, right? And a lot of y'all can probably disagree. Some of y'all may agree. Slavery never ended. It just changed uniforms. Slavery never ended. It just changed uniforms. They took off the chains and then they put on handcuffs. Y'all see where I'm going? They traded the plantation for the prison, right? And the new slave, he's not just black anymore. He's not just poor. He's whoever gets caught up in the system, a system disguised as justice. So today it's time to expose it. I went to an amazing meeting at Truth Tabernacle Ministries on Thursday. The Rocky Mount Police Department, listen, man, my hands go out to you guys. I'm going to give you a hand clap. Listen, y'all are doing some phenomenal work. But just like they said in the meeting, it's going to take a village, right? I was going to get up and speak, but sometimes you just need to be in a posture to listen. Because if I didn't take time to listen, I wouldn't have this message that I'm about to present to you today. So this is the Thought Room, where we tear off the mask, dig beneath the surface, and confront the systems that break us from the inside out. And this episode is called The New American Slave, right? A system disguised in justice. And that's what I want to say. A system disguised in justice. So let's talk for a minute. Why folks want to call me every time I get up here. So let's talk for a minute. My first segment is going to be the setup. Right. The setup was strategic. That's my first segment that first thing I want to talk about. The setup was strategic. Right. So let's start with what nobody wants to admit, what none of our political leaders want to admit. The president don't want to admit it. Congress don't want to admit it. Right. Cocaine didn't fall out of the sky. I mean, I know they had this thing say the sky is falling, but cocaine don't fall out of the sky, and guns don't grow in the hood. Not at all. We don't manufacture drugs. Well, they kind of do, but the pure form, right? We don't own ships, cargo planes, or even international pipelines. But somehow, somewhere, excuse me, the streets got flooded with poison and firepower. It got flooded with poison and firepower. I want y'all to follow me now. And you have to ask yourself a question, right? How did that happen? How did drugs get in our community? How did firearms get in our community? Well, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've been studying here, simple. It was placed there. How else would it get there? It was placed there. Some people may call it a conspiracy theory, but I can't do that. Too many handguns running around here. Too many of this running around there. No, too many drugs floating around. So this was never a war on drugs. It's a war on us, our families, our future, our neighborhoods, our sons, and our daughters. I want y'all to hear me now. Jeremiah, I think it's 5:26 says, among my people are wicked men who lie and wait like those who set traps to catch people. Y'all hear what I just said? Look at it for yourself. Jeremiah 5:26. It says, among my people are wicked men who lie and wait like those who set traps to catch people. And guess what? That trap worked. That trap worked. That trap is working. That trap is in effect right now. So let's talk about crime pays, but not for us. Let's talk about money. Crime really does pays. It's not just for the ones who's doing time. It pays for judges' salary. No disrespect. Police department's salary. Private prisons. Prison labor contractors. Our politicians. Our gun manufacturers. Surveillance companies. Listen. And companies that use inmates' labor to make goods that they sell for full profit. Crime pays. Crime pays. Because if you eliminate crime, you would eliminate these jobs. It's job security. Now, and I'm not speaking about police officers. I'm just talking about the system, because I got a lot of good friends on the police force. They really, really care about the community. They are out here working their backs off, trying to minimize all of this stuff that we got going on. But if crime ended today, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, Miracle Mount, North Carolina, thousands of jobs would disappear. Thousands of jobs would disappear. Lawyers, DAs, the CIA, the FBI, the IBA, the DID, a lot of jobs would end. See, here's the truth. They do not want crime to end. When I say they, I'm talking about a system, not a particular person. They want to control it because crime is an industry, people. Crime is an industry, and you are the inventor. You are the inventory. Crime is an industry, and our children in the street are the inventory. This is why nonviolent crimes carry violent sentences. This is why rehabilitation is a myth. This is why certain neighborhoods are patrolled like war zones. Edgecombe and Ashe County. Yes, violence happened in all of them, but there's certain neighborhoods that are different. Because without crime, there's no check. Without crime, there's no check, people. Without crime, there's no check. Isaiah 10, I think it's 1-2 says, woe to those who make unjust laws. You heard that? Woe to those who make unjust laws to deprive the poor of their rights and withhold justice from the oppressed. Listen. If you commit a crime and you don't have no money, you're in trouble. You're going to jail. Because guess what? You got to have that moolah to get the right type of representation. Well, what about the public defender? Isn't he supposed to work just as hard as a man getting paid $10,000? But it don't work that way. That's why we call him a public pretender. Right? Let's talk about legalized slavery still exists. It still exists today, right? The 13th Amendment says slavery is abolished except as punishment for a crime, right? The 13th Amendment says slavery is abolished except as punishment for crime. That means if they can convict you, they can enslave you, young people. If they can convict you and throw you in jail, they can slave you. See, people don't understand. The pen is mightier than the sword, because with the signing of a pen, a judge can give a young man 90 years, 60 years, 70 years, 30 years. But guess what? They do something even crueler. Hey, son, we're going to give you 96 months or 172 months. Now the guy got to go to a cell and calculate it up, see how much time he's going to be away from his family. And that's exactly what a system does. It tempts you with what's illegal. It tempts you with what's illegal. Under resources, so you're desperate. Under resources, you are so desperate, right? Over police your community, sentencing you with sentencing people with drugs with longer sentences than you give somebody who take a life. Which one is the harshest reality? Because a person that's on drugs, they voluntarily want it, right? But yeah, you might have been the person that introduced them to it, but when you kill somebody, they can't come back. See, they use our young people labor for profit. That's not justice. That's slavery. That's legally stamped and silently accepted. Slavery. I don't know what would make a young man wake up with a bright idea and say, you know what, I'm going to go kill somebody today, and then I'm going to go and spend 30 years in prison. That ain't a favorable outcome. That's why I don't get it. That is not a favorable outcome, to wake up and kill somebody. No, you going to jail. And then because they did, now you crying about doing them 20 years. Ecclesiastes 5:8 says, if you see the poor oppressed and justice denied, be not surprised. One official watches over another. Listen, people, this is a network of corruption, and we've been fueled in it with our bodies. So I hope some young folks are watching this, because if you murder somebody, the killer becomes the slave. The killer becomes the slave. Let's get to the tragedy, right? In a lot of our communities, young men are set up to kill each other before they even know their worth. They don't even know what they really can do. They don't even know why they're here. They don't know the who, what, and why. They don't know who they can become. Think about it. We got so many young people in prison right now. It is absolutely ridiculous. All those gifts locked away. All that purpose locked away. The Bible says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It was God's will for you to be here, young man or young lady. And when one pulls the trigger, two are lost. One goes to the ground, the other one goes into the system. Yes, goes into the system. And then the killer becomes the next slave. The murderer becomes the next name on a shirt. The murdered become the next name on the shirt. Come on. And here's the sad part. Well, I'm going to get to that. And the system, it stays fed. It is eating every day. This machine keeps running. The profit keeps flowing. They're making so much money off of our young people who made decisions they can't reverse. And we think it's just, right? We think it's just the streets, when in reality, it's a pipeline. It is a pipeline. So what's getting us to this place? What spirit is driving most of us with this hate, driving us with this violence, driving us with all these things that God hates, right? Spirit of anger. The spirit of anger is a weapon of mass destruction, right? So let's deal with the spirit of anger. Matter of fact, let's talk about it, because that's the fuel the enemy uses to push many of our young people into destruction. They get so mad and so angry that they just want to take this person out, right? The spirit of anger is dangerous because it has no common sense. It's a spirit that has no common sense. And when you under the influence of anger, you make decisions that don't even make sense. Killing somebody and doing 30 years don't make sense. You'll punch through a door and break your hand because you angry. That don't make sense. You will shoot someone over a disrespect or a Facebook comment. That don't make sense. You rob a store for $200 and ruin your entire future. That doesn't make sense. Then once it's done, that spirit of anger leaves you, and suddenly your common sense come back with a 30-year sentence. Your common sense come back. And now it whispers, what have I done? You look like a deer in headlight. Why did I do this? Now I have to live with it. That's the trap, people. That is the trap. The spirit of anger doesn't stay to do the time with you. It leaves you alone with regret. It leaves you alone with regret. And what's even crazier, what's even preposterous, after the young person commit the crime, they pray to the same God they ignored and ask him not to let them get caught. Now let that sit in your head for a minute. You commit a crime, run and hide, and pray to the same God who's going to condemn you and beg him to help you not get caught. It don't make sense. Yes, he's merciful, but he's also just. God is merciful, but he is also just. James 1:20 says, human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Let me flip it around. Human love does not produce the righteousness, the ungodliness Satan desires. See, it's opposite. It's flipped. It's flipped. See, anger is a thief. It'll rob you of your logic. It'll hand you over to a system and then leave you to face the judge by yourself. Young people, do not let one moment of rage destroy the rest of your life. Do not. So I want to talk about how God views this system. And let me be clear. Let me be totally clear. God is not blind to what's happening. He's not silent, but he's grieved. He is grieved. Proverbs 17:15 says, acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, the Lord detests them both. He detests them both. This system has been condemning the innocent and acquitting the powerful for generations. Look at this red president we got. 34 felonies. And he's free and innocent. Well, he ain't innocent, but he's free. See, but God's judgment is real. I'm telling y'all, God's judgment is real. Amos 5:24 says, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Until that happens, we are called to be the voice for those who've been silenced. We're called to be the voice for those who've been silent. So I talked about all the issues. I talked about how I felt about this system, with no disrespect to any law enforcement or any politician. I'm just bringing these facts of what I found out, right? So how do we fight back? How do you fight back? Right? How do we fight back? You don't have to be a lawyer to fight this system. You just need to be awake, unafraid to speak. Here's what we must do. First of all, we got to educate our youth about this trap. There need to be more reentry programs and hire returning citizens. Now, I got a restaurant. It's challenging, but you got to vet those young folks, because some people are not rehabilitated. Some people just, they hide it good, right? They're good disguisers, right? Vote locally and wisely. Listen, there's more than just a presidential election, people. We voted for DAs, judges, voting for all these people who will lock your child up. Mentor instead of judge. We got to expose this system with truth, people. We got to preach justice, not just religion. And we got to control your emotions. We got to control our emotions before they control your future. And so I wanted to come up here and talk about the new American slave, right? Because it's real and we're seeing it happen, right? So you're not a slave. You're not a number. You're not a lost cause, young people. You are a child of the Most High God, the living God who breathed his breath into you, and you walk around with his breath. How dare we use his breath to commit murder? How dare we use his breath to rob somebody? This breath that you have is a responsibility for you to walk in godliness. You are a light in a dark system, but it starts with awareness, right? It grows through wisdom. And it's alive through action. We got to reject the system. We got to resist the trap. We got to rise from the chains, people, because we are not the new slaves. We are the new warriors, right? We are coming for freedom. See, this is the thought room. And the truth is, we just got to kick the door in. We got to kick the door in. But listen, until next time, grace and peace. And I just invited you into my mind in the thought room.